Delivery. Wow, pretty nice. Goedemorgen iedereen. So, I'm pretty insane when it comes to Pokemon, but growing up I never really had all too many cards. I collected a few here and there, but I always had the choice between spending a couple bucks a month or a week on a pack of cards, or saving my money and getting the latest game when it came out. So I always went for the game. But now that I'm an adult, my friends have sort of convinced me that I could start a collection, and I've been watching a lot of like unboxings, pack openings, and I've been really inspired to, get into Pokemon cards. I think they're really cool and really pretty and pretty nostalgic for me. Like, I never had too many cards, and there's some cards that I always wanted. So I thought the best way to get into collecting, especially in today's economy, is to start a little project. So I got a couple of binders, and what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to collect one card of every Pokemon in the Pokedex. Now, to start off with, I'm going to do Gen 1 to 5, and I've thought of a few rules and like stipulations to make this more interesting. So my scope for the time being is Gen 1 to 5, and okay, no online purchases. So I want to go to local card shops and find singles. Older the better. I like vintage. Obviously there's a language preference, so Dutch is the best language for me. English is second, and Japanese is third. Japanese just looks cool, and sometimes I can read katakana, but okay, I think with these 3 rules it's going to be interesting. Obviously holo is better, but like, I'm not really like a value queen, right? I just want cards that look cool, and if there's a common that has a nicer artwork than a holo, I'm gonna take the common, especially if it's older. So I care a lot about like the layout of the card. If I put 2 cards next to each other in a binder and they have like 2 different layouts, it's gonna look weird, right? So older the better, and all your cards have a similar layout. So that's the idea. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the cards that I have left from when I was a kid and count them out and see what I have, and then I'm gonna fill these binders and I'll report back. All right, I'm back. We out here. I've got my this is what's left of my Pokemon card collection over the years. I used to have a lot more, but I gave random cards to random siblings and cousins and that sort of thing. So this is the total number of cards I have left, and a Rowlet coin. So yeah, not too many, but we're gonna see what cards out of the Pokedex are left in this collection. And because I have no life, I've gone ahead and started a spreadsheet, and we've got our little categories. So one thing I forgot to mention was the condition. Don't really want damage, like if there's a bend or a crease, but if it's just kind of like scuffed, I'll take it. Another thing that I don't want is sticker residue, but whatever. And we got some totals. Like I said, I'm gonna focus on the first 5 generations. Oops. To start off with, but I just added these for posterity. So yeah, let's get counting these cards, and we'll see what we have. That's not a Pokemon card. That's a lot of Niwatoris. These 2 guys are my prized possessions, so I keep them in top loaders, but I guess I'm gonna have to take them out for the binder. Okay, that's step 1 done. So what I figure would be smart is if I just sorted each of the cards into their different generations, and then went ahead and entered them into the spreadsheet this way as I was putting them into the binder. But yeah, this is my breakdown. So these are my Gen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have no idea what the fuck generation these cards belong to. And trainer cards and energies and whatnot. So yeah, and I have some extra Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Surprise! Okay. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll figure out which one of each species is like my best copy, and I'll put that into the spreadsheet as I put it into the binder. See you then! Alrighty, that's the end of Gen 1 done. And I have a coverage of 70. And of course I have a lot of duplicates. So I think what I'm going to do with these is maybe trade them or sell them. I mean, they're just commons, so whatever. But maybe one of you guys wants them. If you're in the EU, hit me up. Maybe we can trade. But they're just a bunch of commons, so like duplicates that I have an older or a better card. Anyway, it should get easier to sort now. I just have fewer and fewer of each generation to go. So, yeah. Okay, Gen 2 is done, and I actually have surprisingly few Gen 2 cards considering it's my favorite generation. Only 22. And I'm missing some really surprising cards. Like Skarmory. There's even a fully blank page. So I'll look forward to filling that one out. On to Gen 3. I find it hilarious that I had to move on to the second binder just to fit the love disc. And so at the end of Gen 3, I've had to come up with a new rule. Any card that came out in the same generation as the Pokemon itself, I'm calling vintage. And any card that came out at least one generation, or at most one generation after, I'm calling medium age. Because of course a 2010 card of, let's say, Garchomp is obviously as vintage as it's gonna get for Garchomp. I'll do it by generation. Same generation means vintage. Okay, Gen 4. One thing that's really annoying is these Team Galactic and Team Rocket cards. They don't have the Pokedex number, so I can't order them properly. Two really nice Miss Magius cards. And two really nice Garchomp cards. I have a newfound love for Krogunk right now. He looks so cool and dope. Okay, Gen 4 is locked in. I have a damaged Garatina. But yeah, on to the last gen, at least as far as I can tell. Okay, and with that final Hydreigon, we are done with gens 1 to 5, and these are my final numbers. Wow, that's really interesting. 22 for both Hoenn and Sinnoh. And Johto. Okay, so we'll have a quick look at what I have. Binder number 1. This is a damaged Dark Blastoise, sadly, but it's really cool. A nice page here. I'm really liking the consistency in the layouts, and then, well, gotta replace that Pidgeotto. I'm considering reverses, non-holos. I'm not really a fan of reverses myself. Sandshrew is one. I'm really surprised that I don't have like good copies of Pikachu and Sandshrew. So those will be cards I'm chasing. Ooh, two of my most prized possessions right here, and Wigglytuff. Really nice fossil Golduck. And yeah, I don't really care about first edition. You know, I'm just doing this for myself. I don't really care about the value. Really nice Dark Alakazam. Some of my least favorite Pokemon are Machop line. I actually have a vintage Weeping Bell, but these three are a perfect set. And the Victory Bell is also hollow, so maybe I'll keep them like this. This is an absolutely endgame Slowpoke. I'm not swapping that one out ever. Beautiful Farfetch'd. I really like that artwork with the shading and the color work. A damaged Gengar, sadly. I really like this Drowsy artwork. I used to use this card in the Game Boy game. And this Voltorb is really nice artwork too. A Dutch copy. Nice hollow Kangaskhan. This Electabuzz, I guess I'm not considering it vintage, it's from Neo Genesis. Not some modern cards on this page, but a really nice Gyarados. I mean, I'm not swapping that one out, that's for sure. Dutch Porygon. Dratini, and then on to Gen 2. A bit more scarce here. Nice Japanese Golov. I really like this artwork. That's a modern for Alligator, but again, I like the artwork. I really like this pairing. I really like the artwork for Lediba and Ledian here. And I think the hollow is really nice on this Ledian. This is actually a reverse that I like, this Ampharos. Super cute. Murkrow is my favorite Pokemon. One of my favorite Pokemon anyway. I have a few copies of it. This is the oldest one I have. I had this one since I was like 4 years old, literally. a really nice hollow Smeargle, but it's not quite vintage enough. I think I can do better. But I do like these hard gold soul silver cards. Sometimes. Gen 3. See, these, I consider these vintage, right? Because they're from 2003. Oh, this was annoying. There's no Pokedex number. Hollow Swampert, but it's modern. And some blanks. Quite a few blanks until we get to Mawile, Aron. Yeah, starting to run out. Oh, this is a really nice Hollow Altaria, but it's, again, modern. That's the first binder, and then just a few for Gen 4 and 5. And of course, these are all like quote-unquote vintage because I basically haven't collected modern cards after Gen 5 and 4. Oh, beautiful Miss Magius. Another one of my favorites. Garchomp. Yeah, I mean, some of these I won't replace. Oh, I actually really like this Lumineon card. Nobody ever remembers this Pokemon, but because I like that card so much, I always remember it. Last page. On Gen 4. Oh, I got this Oshawott from a tin that I got the same day I bought my copy of Pokemon Black on release day. Nice little Zorua. And a really nice last card. I do like this artwork. I do like the dragon type coloring, but I do prefer colorless. And yeah, maybe I will go through my trades. Okay, so here's the cards that didn't really fit anywhere, so I couldn't really put them in the binder. They're just kind of duplicates, or I had a better copy. If anyone wants these, in the EU anyway. I'm not shipping to like Taiwan or something, but if you have something to trade, I don't know, they're just commons. So, oh, this is actually a McDonald's Growlithe. I got a couple of years ago, but I prefer the vintage copy even though it's common. And this is actually a really nice artwork, and it's a good holo, but I have a nicer vintage copy. So yeah, that's that. So it seems like one thing that I learned from this little project is that maybe sorting through your entire Pokemon card collection at 1:30 AM and finishing at 4 AM is not the smartest way of going about it. So it's a new day and I'm wearing new clothes. Excuse the continuity. I think we have a really good start on Gen 1, but the other generations I am definitely lacking in the card department. So it'll be maybe a little difficult to know which generation I need to be focusing on, which cards I need to remember to pick up and which ones I can avoid. And I think there's some surprising things that are missing, like a lot of starters I don't have, and the holos are not going to be cheap even if I get like poor condition, especially if I'm limiting myself to local stores. One other thing about local stores is that there's usually a price floor. Like they have these binders full of commons and it's just like every card in this binder is 50 cents, right? So even if the card is worth like 10 cents online, I'm gonna be paying 50 cents for it if I go for this challenge. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out and how far I can get and what are the problems I might face along the way. Next time I'll check out my local card shops. There's about 2 I think, and see what they have and see what I can add to my collection. So see you then.